The Volkswagen Group have announced pay cuts. They're basically saying everyone working in Germany, we're talking literally tens of thousands of staff, must take a 10% pay cut. They're also saying they want to close 4 factories as well. Here are the details behind what's happening at the Volkswagen Group. Now, remember, this is not just the Volkswagen brand. This is all the brands. I think there's about 17 different brands under the Volkswagen Group umbrella. Things are just as bad for the Porsche brand, whose revenue has fallen by 42%. Volkswagen has asked its German workforce to take a 10% pay cut as the car giant says it doesn't have enough money. It's running out of money. At the same time, though, I think a lot of its employees are saying, bullshit. They probably are saying this, and to be fair, they kind of have a point. I mean, the Volkswagen Group did just invest an enormous amount of money in Chinese car company XPeng. They purchased a Chinese software company for $2 billion last year. They spent $5 billion investing into Rivian this year. They're investing huge amounts of money into factories in the United States and into the Scout brand over there. So German employees are saying, no, hang on a minute. Wait a minute, you're saying you can't pay us, but you can spend literally tens of billions of dollars on all this other stuff? That doesn't add up. German unions are saying the same thing, and the German unions are very heavily embedded into the company. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. Great to have you with us. I'll be at the Sydney EV show on the 8th, 9th, and 10th, and I have free tickets for you guys. So I'll put a link in the description to the actual homepage, and the promotion codes are there as well, so you can get free tickets. So a lot of the decline a lot of the problems here are coming from this fact. The Volkswagen Group traditionally over the last 15 to 20 years have made 50% of their global profits in China, 50% of their profits and 40% of their sales in China. It kind of makes sense. Actually, automakers have been making billions of dollars there, but that is drying up quickly. And we're nowhere near the worst point yet. This is a trajectory towards disaster. The group know this. That's why the CFO has said the roof is on fire. The company, he actually said this, quote, "The company's finances are sick. They are diseased." So what this means is that in Germany, where cars are being made at a much higher price for the Volkswagen Group than they are in other places worldwide, the company believes that they need to get rid of these factories and to basically fire lots of employees and to get the existing employees to take a 10% pay cut. The unions, who are actually part of the Volkswagen Group, are saying, no, this is not going to happen. Remember, that's why we fired the previous CEO, Herbert Diess. Do you want to get fired too? Well, overnight, Volkswagen announced the first public round of its collective bargaining consultation with its Works Council, which includes these proposed pay cuts. Successful operations are a prerequisite for job security, and that is our goal, said Volkswagen. So one of the things we need to do is reduce our labour costs. A decisive tool here will be lowering labour costs to a competitive level relative to the industry benchmark. One of the reasons why labour costs at the Volkswagen Group are so high is because efficiency is low. And if you don't believe that, well, maybe just listen to what Herbert Diess, the CEO, said. Herbert Diess said before he was fired, that it takes the Volkswagen Group around 33 hours to manufacture an electric car. And it takes Tesla around 10 hours. Now, that's actually not really true. That's kind of like when the vehicle begins and then when it exits the door. Anyway, those numbers are really probably not quite accurate because this number is measured in a lot of different ways. But he basically said it takes the Volkswagen Group 3 times as long to make an EV versus what it takes Tesla. And that means the labor costs are much, much higher, especially than Tesla and also to their other rivals. Even if Volkswagen were to cut pay levels, these would still be very attractive compared with the industry as a whole, says the group. We, the parties to the collective bargaining agreement, need to share the responsibility and take consistent action to safeguard our future success. It's a difficult situation that in the present we must all pull together. This is something that has always set Volkswagen apart and will continue to do so going forward. Now, I should mention that Volkswagen Group, they've just closed down their EV factory in Brussels, in Belgium. They tried to sell the factory. No one wanted it. The announcement is centering on finances for employees, but it does include the threats of closing numerous factories. Now, apparently there is numerous reports in Germany that 3 car factories will be shut, and this was claimed by Works Council head Daniela Cavallo earlier this week. Now, people within the Volkswagen Group have said that German brands in particular are at greater risk to threats from overseas rivals. They're particularly singling out Chinese rivals. We are very concerned about the current trend in the auto industry in Europe and especially in Germany as a business location. Now, right when he mentioned that, numerous Chinese businesses cut their plans or cancelled or paused plans for building factories or battery factories in Europe. He went on to say the deterioration in Volkswagen's figures for the last quarter underlined particularly for the Volkswagen brand with a margin of only 2%. Margin of 2%. That's almost nothing. And it's not like this is not a trend. The Volkswagen brand margin has gone down consistently over the past 12 quarters. He said it makes it particularly clear that there are some big concerns. If we remain at this level, we will be unable to finance our future. They need to make more profits, right? They're primarily selling internal combustion engine vehicles. They need to make a lot of profits from those vehicles to finance building out these EV factories, building out these EV production lines, being able to actually produce competitive cars with their rivals, but they don't have the money to do that because they have about $190 billion of debt. Volkswagen negotiation representatives and the Works Council are next due to meet on November the 21st. Now, will things change then? I don't know, but we did just see Volkswagen's third quarter numbers and their revenue has fallen by 42%. That's a big collapse. And primarily that's due to Chinese sales. The pay cut announcement is the first official proposal made by Volkswagen to save costs after recent reports it had to make changes. The carmaker announced in the third quarter financial results overnight, with its year-to-date operating result down by 21% compared to the first 9 months of 2023, standing at 12.9 billion euros to the end of September. Its after-tax earnings are down 31% on the first 9 months of 2023, and they were down 63.7% compared with the third quarter of this year versus last year. So that's the big number. That's the big takeaway here, the trend here. The fact that their actual earnings after tax are down 63.7% versus the third quarter of last year. Volkswagen Group sales are actually up 4% in North America, and in South America they're up 16%. But its European sales are down by 1%, its Chinese sales are down by 12%, and it's actually selling its cars at much, much lower margins. So its actual earnings per car are the lowest they've been in literally decades. Last month, Reuters reported the Volkswagen Group is targeting savings of 10 billion euros by 2026. Now, obviously, understandably, a lot of employees are saying, hang on a minute, I don't understand this. You guys have invested enormous sums of money in all these random different things over the past 12 months, and now you're telling us you're going to shut our factories down. So you kind of see why there's a bit of confusion here. Apparently, the carmakers' Works Council said at least one vehicle plant and component factory are obsolete and will be shut within the next few months. Volkswagen Finance Chief Arno Antlitz attended a gathering of 25,000 workers at the company's Wolfsburg headquarters and said they needed to work with management to cut spending. Volkswagen brand CEO Thomas Schaefer reportedly said the company's German factories were operating at 25 to 50% above the cost they're meant to run at. 25 to 50% above cost they're meant to run at, which is driving part of the company's desire to cut expenditure. Now, some analysts are saying they wonder if this is related potentially to what has happened at Tesla's Gigafactory in Germany. Many staff, potentially thousands of staff, it's been reported, are not turning up to work, saying that there's something wrong with them, they're sick, and they haven't turned up to work for months. It's believed that similar issues are plaguing the Volkswagen Group's factories as well. Now, I can't actually speak to this, I don't know for sure, that's just rumors that I've been hearing. Previous claims by analysts have said Volkswagen's Osnabrück and Dresden factories are two of the most likely plants to be shut. Keep in mind as well that the Volkswagen Group haven't just invested in those other things I mentioned, they have also invested in their enormous plant in China. What is called their mega factory in China, which is meant to produce their next generation electric cars. However, unfortunately, the Volkswagen Group's demand for their vehicles continues to fall. So there's concerns in the company that they've invested all this money into these new, not just one, but numerous Chinese EV factories, and Chinese consumers actually don't want their vehicles. That is one of the concerns. Volkswagen Group Australia, which does not plan to transition to EVs, has actually said that this won't affect them whatsoever at all. Now, I do believe the Volkswagen Group are in trouble here, and I believe that they will have to sell some of these brands in order to basically slimline the company, reduce spending, and kind of become a smaller version of themselves, a more efficient and smaller version of themselves. Last year, they sold over 9 million vehicles. I believe it's about 9.4 million. I believe by 2030, that figure will fall to no more than 5 million, possibly even less than that. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.